The average American probably spends more time choosing pasta than choosing pasta sauce. But here's the problem. A jar covered with pictures of fresh tomatoes doesn't necessarily contain the simple, high-quality ingredients you'd expect. Many popular pasta sauces are loaded with added sugar, cheap vegetable oils, modified starches, and unnecessary flavor enhancers that can hide the taste of the tomatoes themselves. That doesn't mean these sauces are unsafe to eat. They're all legally sold and enjoyed by millions of people every year. But if you're paying premium prices, shouldn't the tomatoes, not the additives, be doing most of the work? Today, we're looking at 10 of America's most popular pasta sauce brands. We'll start with 5 we'd think twice about buying regularly, then finish with 5 that rely on better ingredients and let real tomatoes take center stage. Let's open the first jar. Traditional marinara is surprisingly simple. At its best, it only needs a few quality ingredients: tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, onion, herbs, salt. Yet many supermarket sauces contain ingredient lists that stretch far beyond those basics. Some include extra sugar to balance acidity. Others rely heavily on soybean or canola oil instead of olive oil. And some use tomato paste concentrates rather than allowing the natural flavor of ripe tomatoes to shine. For this ranking, we're looking at ingredient quality, tomato content, added sugar, oils used, artificial additives, overall simplicity. Remember, no pasta sauce is perfect. The goal is simply to find the jars that stay closest to real, traditional ingredients. Let's begin. Number 10, Hunt's Pasta Sauce. Hunt's has been a familiar name for decades, and it's one of the more affordable options on grocery store shelves. But affordability often comes with trade-offs. Many Hunt's sauces rely heavily on tomato puree and tomato paste, while also including added sugar, soybean oil, and ingredients designed to create a consistent texture across every batch. The tomatoes themselves aren't the problem. It's everything added around them that makes this sauce less impressive than it first appears. The flavor is designed to appeal to as many people as possible, which often means sweeter and less complex than a traditional marinara. If you're looking for a quick weeknight dinner, it'll certainly do the job. But if you want a sauce where tomatoes remain the star, there are better choices ahead. And the next brand is one millions of Americans buy, without ever reading the label. Number 9. Prego Traditional Italian Sauce. Prego is one of the biggest names in the pasta sauce aisle. Its thick texture and slightly sweet flavor have made it a family favorite for years. But once you turn the jar around, you'll notice the ingredient list is longer than many shoppers expect. Alongside tomatoes, you'll typically find added sugar, vegetable oil, and several ingredients intended to maintain flavor and texture throughout its long shelf life. None of these ingredients are unusual. They're common across much of the packaged food industry. The question is whether they're necessary when simpler sauces are available for a similar price. One interesting comparison is the amount of added sweetness. Traditional Italian marinara usually lets naturally ripe tomatoes provide most of the flavor. Many commercial sauces, however, depend more heavily on added sweetness to create a broader appeal. There's nothing wrong with preferring that taste. But if you're looking for a cleaner ingredient list, Prego probably isn't your best option. And surprisingly, the next sauce wears a premium label, yet its ingredients don't always match the image on the front of the jar. Number 8. Classico 4-Cheese Pasta Sauce. Classico is often positioned as a more premium pasta sauce, and some of its products are genuinely better than average. But the 4-cheese variety doesn't quite live up to that reputation. Instead of letting tomatoes lead the flavor, this sauce leans heavily on cheese, added seasonings, and extra ingredients that can overpower the fresh tomato taste. It isn't a bad sauce, but if you're looking for a classic marinara, it moves further away from the simple recipe that made Italian pasta sauce famous. Another thing to watch is sodium. Cheese-based sauces often contain considerably more sodium than traditional marinara, making them less ideal if you're trying to limit your daily intake. If you love a rich, cheesy pasta, this sauce may still be worth trying. But if your goal is clean, tomato-forward flavor, there are better jars waiting further down the list. Number 7. Great Value Traditional Pasta Sauce. Walmart's Great Value brand has earned a reputation for offering solid value across many grocery categories. Its pasta sauce is certainly affordable, but the ingredient list reflects that budget-friendly approach. Like many lower-cost sauces, it relies on tomato concentrate alongside added sugar and vegetable oil to create a consistent flavor that's easy to mass produce. The sauce isn't terrible. In fact, for the price, it's perfectly acceptable. The problem is that it lacks the fresh tomato flavor and balanced seasoning found in higher quality options. Think of it this way. If you're buying pasta sauce once a week, spending just $1 or $2 more can often get you a noticeably better product. Sometimes, the cheapest jar isn't the best value. And our next brand is proof that popularity doesn't always equal quality. Number 6. Ragu Old World Style Traditional. Few brands are as recognizable as Ragu. For decades, it's been one of America's best-selling pasta sauces. But being popular doesn't automatically make it one of the best. Ragu's traditional sauce includes tomato puree, but it also contains added sugar, vegetable oil, and a number of ingredients designed to create a sweeter, thicker sauce with a long shelf life. The result is a flavor that's familiar but far removed from a traditional homemade marinara. Many people grew up eating ragu, so there's certainly a nostalgic appeal. But if you're comparing ingredient lists, several competing brands now offer simpler recipes with fewer unnecessary additions. And that's why Ragu lands just outside the top 5. Now we're moving into the sauces we'd actually feel comfortable recommending. Number 5. Kirkland Signature Organic Marinara. This is where the list starts to change. Costco's Kirkland Signature Organic Marinara keeps things refreshingly simple. The ingredient list focuses on organic tomatoes, olive oil, onions, garlic, herbs, and spices without relying on a long list of unnecessary additives. It also avoids the overly sweet taste found in many mass-market sauces. Instead, the tomatoes remain the main source of flavor, creating a cleaner and more balanced sauce. For Costco members, it's one of the strongest values available. Great ingredients, large jars, reasonable price, and it's only going to get better from here, because the next 4 sauces take ingredient quality to another level. Number 4. Cucina Antica Marinara. If you've never heard of Cucina Antica, you're not alone. It isn't advertised nearly as heavily as some of the biggest brands, but that's exactly why it surprises so many shoppers. The ingredient list is refreshingly short. Italian tomatoes, olive oil, onions, garlic, basil, and a handful of simple seasonings do most of the work. There's no heavy reliance on added sugar to cover acidity, and the tomato flavor remains clean and balanced. The texture is also closer to what you'd expect from a homemade marinara, rather than an overly thick processed sauce. It may cost a little more than budget brands, but if you're looking for a sauce that lets quality ingredients speak for themselves, Cucina Antica is well worth considering. Number 3. Victoria White Linen Marinara. Victoria has earned a loyal following for one simple reason. It tastes remarkably close to homemade. Many of its marinara sauces are made in small batches, using imported tomatoes, olive oil, onions, garlic, and herbs without unnecessary fillers. The difference becomes obvious after the first bite. Instead of tasting overly sweet or overly salty, the tomatoes remain the star of the sauce. Another advantage is its clean ingredient list. There are no complicated additives trying to imitate homemade flavor because the recipe doesn't need them. If you enjoy slow-cooked, traditional-style marinara, Victoria is one of the easiest recommendations on this list. And now we're down to the final 2. Number 2. Ragu's Homemade Marinara. Few pasta sauces have developed the reputation that Ragu's has. Over the past decade, it has become the benchmark many shoppers use when comparing premium jarred sauces. And after reading the label, it's easy to understand why. The recipe is remarkably simple. Italian tomatoes, olive oil, onions, garlic, basil, oregano, black pepper. No unnecessary fillers. No excessive sweetness. No long list of ingredients you wouldn't expect in a homemade kitchen. The result is a rich, balanced sauce that tastes much closer to freshly made marinara than many mass-market competitors. The biggest downside is the price. Ragu's is often one of the most expensive jars on the shelf. But if ingredient quality is your priority, many shoppers believe it's worth paying a little extra. Still, there is one option that offers excellent quality while delivering even better overall value. Number 1. Homemade or fresh store bakery-style marinara. Our number 1 recommendation isn't tied to a single national brand. Whenever possible, choose a fresh marinara made with simple ingredients or make your own at home. A great tomato sauce doesn't require 20 ingredients. In fact, some of the best recipes contain only tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil, garlic, onion, basil, salt. That's it. Without added sugar, unnecessary vegetable oils, or long lists of stabilizers, the natural sweetness and acidity of the tomatoes can stand on their own. If making your own sauce isn't practical, many supermarket deli or fresh food sections now offer refrigerated marinara with similarly simple recipes. These products often have a shorter shelf life, but that's usually because they rely less on preservatives and more on fresh ingredients. Sometimes, the simplest choice really is the best one. The next time you're standing in the pasta sauce aisle, don't let the label make the decision for you. Turn the jar around. Read the ingredient list. Look at how much sugar has been added. Check which oil is being used. And ask yourself one simple question. Is this sauce built around quality tomatoes or around inexpensive ingredients designed to cut costs? A better pasta sauce won't transform your entire diet overnight. But making smarter choices consistently is exactly what healthy shopping is all about. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Buy Better for honest ingredient reviews, product comparisons, and practical tips that help you spend your money wisely. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.